Number 1.
September 2017 had been a vicious hurricane season for the Caribbean. The island of St. Thomas in the United States Virgin Islands was battered from Hurricane Irma when word got out that there would be a second hurricane approaching. With days to prepare, residents of the small island began to either evacuate the island or bunkered down. One of the residents who chose to stay was 32-year-old Hannah Up. Hannah taught at the island's Montessori school and was described as vibrant, energetic, fearless, and adventurous. But the stress from the hurricanes seemed to be taking a toll. While she was preparing her classroom for the second storm, her coworkers noticed she was off. Her positive, bubbly demeanor was muted. She was described as acting complacent and quiet. Though at the time, those around her assumed it was just stress about the storm. On September 14, Hannah's roommates saw her get up and leave the house around 8 a.m. Though it was earlier than she usually left the house, her roommate assumed she was going into work early to help out the school. This would end up being the last confirmed sighting of Hannah. The following day, Hannah missed a meeting at the school, and her coworker and best friend, Maggie Guzman, thought this was highly unusual. She tried to call her but no answer, and had stopped by Hannah's house and noticed her car wasn't in the driveway. Her concern grew, and Maggie started contacting Hannah's friends and family. One of Hannah's friends cryptically told her to look by water. Maggie started a search party and had asked people to start looking in Hannah's favorite spots. One beach, in particular, Sapphire Beach, was Hannah's favorite place to swim. The beach was a disaster. Hurricane Irma had turned the pristine beach into a wrecking yard of debris. The beach was deserted, but there, in the parking lot, was Hannah's car. Inside the vehicle were her purse, passport, ID, and hundreds of dollars in cash. On a bar stool in what used to be a beach hut bar, as a pile of neatly folded clothing, sandals, and car keys, all belonging to Hannah. Hannah had already been missing for 2 days when the official search for her began. It appeared that she had gone for a swim, and something may have happened to her. Because ferries and local boaters were helping to evacuate the island, there was heavy boat traffic all around the island. Friends and officers searched the entire perimeter of the island, with no sign of Hannah anywhere. During the search, Maggie learned that this wasn't the first time that Hannah had gone missing. This disappearance was Hannah's third time going missing, and the previous 2 incidents had also happened under similar circumstances. Back in September 2008, the then 23-year-old Hannah said goodbye to her roommate. It had been the first day of her new teaching job in New York City. Again, she failed to show up for work, which immediately launched a missing person investigation. The NYPD had treated the case from the start as an abduction. Hannah had disappeared without her wallet, ID, and left cash in her apartment. She vanished without a trace. 9 days into her disappearance, NYPD received a call from a man who had gone to school with Hannah, and he said that he had seen her at an Apple store. He said that he had gone up to her and asked her if she was the Hannah that was missing, and bizarrely, she told him that she wasn't Hannah, nor was she missing. He was sure he was talking to Hannah, and she was very much missing, which caused him a great deal of confusion. He wasn't sure if Hannah was lying or didn't want to be found. He decided to call the police and reported his interaction with Hannah. NYPD got surveillance footage from the store, and they were able to confirm it was Hannah Up. Why had she told the man that she wasn't Hannah? The NYPD determined that Hannah had been at the Apple store to log into her Gmail account and confirmed that she was alive, but it started more questions than answers. What was she doing? Why was she hiding? Why had she seemingly abandoned her life? 2 weeks into her disappearance, NYPD discovered that she had been using the facilities of her old gym to shower. Though she had no ID on her, she remembered her gym number, and a front desk person was able to confirm her identity. She had also been sighted at a Starbucks in Soho, but she had disappeared by the time officers arrived. On the 20th day since she had first gone missing, the ferry captain of Staten Island Ferry saw a woman's head bobbing in the water, floating face down. They deployed a rescue boat assuming the young woman was dead, and were shocked when she gasped for air and started crying as they lifted her out of the water. She was taken to the hospital, severely dehydrated, hypothermic, and covered in sunburns but otherwise okay. She wasn't able to tell medical staff who she was or what had happened to her. At the hospital, she was diagnosed with a rare form of amnesia called dissociative fugue, usually only brought on by extreme psychological trauma. It is the same form of amnesia that was portrayed in the Jason Bourne story. Sufferers often appear very typical. Though they may not be able to tell people who they are, they can continue with everyday activities that they may have done routinely in the past. Like show up at their old gym or go to places that are most familiar to them. What had happened to Hannah that brought on this state? Eventually, Hannah remembered her first name and gave the medical staff her mother's phone number. Her mother arrived less than an hour later, and the first thing Hannah said was, "Why am I wet?" She had no memory of the past 3 weeks, and the last thing she remembered was going for a run the day she went missing. Hannah was embarrassed by the news coverage. She had even considered changing her name to get away from the publicity. A year after the incident in New York, Hannah moved from New York. She eventually landed in Maryland, where she became a teaching assistant at a Montessori school for underserved children. Hannah loved the theology behind Montessori and enjoyed her work there. She went all in, 100% into her work. It was a September morning in 2011 when Hannah's mother got a call from the police. Hannah had again been reported missing when she missed work. During the search, searchers found her purse on a local walking trail. It contained her cell phone, wallet, keys, and the last time anyone had seen her was the day before. The next day, close to midnight, Hannah's mother received a call from an unknown number. The voice on the other end only said, "Mom?" Hannah had again been in a fugue state, but she had come out of it by herself. She realized she was sitting in a creek with a shopping cart next to her when she came to. Once again, Hannah had no idea how she had got there or how much time had passed. She had been able to navigate herself out of the woods and found some commercial buildings and was able to borrow a stranger's phone. After her second fugue episode, she attempted to explain how water helped her find herself. She told her mother she had flashbacks of her disappearance in New York, and she distinctly remembered being drawn to water. She couldn't explain why, nor could doctors, but there was something about being near water that helped her remember. All 3 disappearances had happened in September, right before the new school year began. In the days following up to her 2017 disappearance, friends had noticed she was acting odd. She had told one friend that she didn't like the fall. None of her friends in St. Thomas knew about her past disappearances. Her family had been nervous for her to move so far away, but Hannah had laughed and said, "It's a small island. How far can I go?" 6 days before her disappearance, she stopped using her phone. Hannah seemed to be on autopilot. But those closest to her had no idea about her past. They brushed it off as stress from the storms. Experts say she could have already been transitioning into a fugue state for several days before it eventually took over. Hannah was a strong swimmer, and for some reason, she was drawn to the water when she was in a fugue state. Crews searched desperately for 2 days before the search had to be called off because Hurricane Maria touched down. Even worse than Irma, Maria brought on heavy winds and rain, once again battering St. Thomas. After the hurricane passed, the search was taken up again by boat and helicopter. All 80 islands in the area were searched, and no sign of Hannah. Other theories are that she may have swum to one of the other islands or had been picked up by a local boater. The days leading up to Hurricane Maria were a flurry of activity, and it could have been possible that she had gotten lost in the shuffle. Her disappearance in New York demonstrated that she was very resourceful and could draw from previous knowledge to keep her safe. Her mother routinely visits St. Thomas, and everyone on the island knows what Hannah looks like. Her mother remains optimistic that one day Hannah will pop up somewhere and remember who she is. If you have any information regarding Hannah, her family wishes you contact their private investigator Steve Wagner, 724 591 0675.
Number 2.
Virtually every day, Jeannie Verhille walks into her daughter's empty bedroom and wonders where she is. It has been nearly 3 months since Jenna, who recently was released from jail after battling drug issues, eager to start a newly landed waitressing job, left their Monroe County home and never returned. None of the 26-year-old's friends or family have heard from her since. Authorities have been working to find her, and Crime Stoppers of Michigan continues to offer a $1,000 reward for tips. But as weeks pass without concrete leads, loved ones fear the worst. "I just truly feel that there is something amiss," Jeannie Verhille said. "There is something really wrong here." Protecting Jenna, she said, has been the family goal since they adopted her from another relative as a toddler. An arts lover whose work adorned her family's South Rockwood home, Jenna Verhille attended dance classes before graduating from Airport High School in Carlton and studying at Monroe County Community College, relatives said. Several years ago, while Verhille worked at a restaurant, relatives noticed a change in the bubbly blonde woman's behavior and learned she had started using heroin, her mother said. In recent years, heroin use has skyrocketed in Michigan. Admissions for treatment climbed 187% across the state between 2000 and 2016, state health department data show. Deaths attributed to overdoses jumped 624% from 2000 through 2015. Realizing the danger, Jeannie Verhille contends the family reported her daughter to law enforcement and arranged stints at rehabilitation facilities in Ann Arbor and Brighton. However, Jenna Verhille struggled and had troubles with the law. She still is this very intelligent, smart person that wants this really good life, but she got sucked into that drug, her mother said. Verhille received help while behind bars and, immediately after returning home last summer, discussed new plans. Talking for hours with her aunt, Joy Holloway, on August 17, she described feeling blessed to find a job close to home and hoped to return to school, the older woman said. Holloway, a social worker and former drug addict, was surprised since Verhille had seemed to avoid such interactions while facing challenges. "She was in such a mood that day that it was phenomenal," the Lincoln Park resident said. "I really thought we were on a huge upswing." That afternoon, Verhille's father Pascal heard her giving directions to the family home over the phone. Shortly after, he saw her cross the yard and enter a tan, mid-sized Ford vehicle that appeared to have an Ohio license plate in the front. A neighbor reported spotting a man behind the wheel. Verhille had not mentioned any plans to meet up with anyone and took no belongings. Later that night, when she still hadn't returned, Jeannie Verhille sent her daughter a text message to see if she would be returning home soon. Jenna replied that she wouldn't, then failed to respond to further messages. Subsequent calls went straight to voicemail. That weekend, relatives filed a missing person report with South Rockwood police. Investigators initially told them only so much could be pursued for a case involving an adult who appeared to leave voluntarily. Darren Wright, the community's acting police chief, told the Monroe News last month his team had not found evidence suggesting foul play. But relatives said they doubt Verhille ran away. She just never was gone this long without contacting one of us, ever, Holloway said. As time passed, the family turned to groups dedicated to finding missing people and promoting the case online. They also plastered numerous posters describing her, 5'6", 125 pounds, an upper arm tattoo reading "Life won't wait for you," and another on her left shin reading "Just Dance." Learning from authorities about informants possibly glimpsing someone matching their daughter's description, the Verhilles have also trekked to Detroit, Livonia, and Ohio to follow up, seek witnesses and chase leads. "We don't know if she's alive or dead," her father said. "It's just hard going out every day and not knowing where she's at." The case remains active, said Anthony Jones, a Crime Stoppers of Michigan spokesman. While working around the clock to keep the details in the public eye, Jeannie Verhille constantly worries that her daughter is being held captive, forced into human trafficking or worse. "She could have walked right into a huge problem, and now she can't get out," she said. "She's such a vital part of this family and we just want her back." Anyone with information is asked to contact Crime Stoppers by calling 800-SPEAK-UP, visiting www.1800speakup.org or texting CSM and a tip to crimes 274,637.
Number 3.
A quick trip to the beach has been at the center of two missing persons cases in Virginia. It's been 3.5 years since family and friends of 34-year-old Keir Johnson has seen her or her 8-month-old daughter, Chloe Johnson. There aren't many details available about the case as it is reportedly still an ongoing, active investigation, but let's unpack the little we do know about the missing mother and daughter duo. It was April 30, 2017, when Keir Johnson and baby Chloe Johnson were all set to take a trip to Buckroe Beach in Hampton, Virginia. I've sifted through multiple news reports and information shared by various agencies, and there doesn't seem to be anything that suggests that this was a particularly strange or unusual day. Keir shared with her mother that she was taking Chloe to meet up with a friend at the beach, but the friend told authorities that they waited for Keir Johnson and she never arrived. When Keir's mother didn't hear from her daughter, she reported her and baby Chloe missing the next day. It was uncharacteristic of Keir Johnson to disappear, especially with Chloe, without telling someone where she was going and when she could be expected to return. Investigators received a clue when Keir's vehicle, a 2013 Kia Optima, was located at a trailer park in Newport News, Virginia, less than 20 minutes from Buckroe Beach. The vehicle had been abandoned, and it's unclear what was found inside. "The only thing I will say is I want my sister back," Keir's twin Tare Petway said at a press conference a year after sister went missing. "I was born with my sister, I was created with my sister, and I want my sister with me. I want my niece back with me." Tare added, "I believe it's someone she knows. I just feel in my heart someone she knows." At the time of her disappearance, Keir Johnson stood 4 feet 11 inches tall and was 140 pounds. She had black dark brown hair and brown eyes. Keir's hair is described as being shoulder length and straight because it was processed, meaning she used a relaxer, so it was not her natural texture. Both of her ears are pierced, her left foot is smaller than her right foot, she has a scar on her left thigh, and she has scars on her abdomen from having her gallbladder removed. She was not wearing any jewelry or accessories. Keir Johnson was last seen wearing a t-shirt of an unknown color, blue jeans, and black flat slider shoes, known as slides, with Nike in pink letters. She also wears prescription glasses, but it's believed she didn't have them with her, or at least she wasn't wearing them when she went missing with her daughter. At the time of her disappearance, Chloe Johnson was 2 feet 5 inches tall and 20 pounds. She had black dark brown hair and brown eyes. Both of her ears are pierced. There is currently a $35,000 reward for information regarding the whereabouts of both Keir and Chloe. Anyone with information about this case is urged to contact the Newport News Police Department at 757-247-2500, crime line at 1-888 Lock You Up, 1-888-562-5887, or their local authorities.
Number 4.
The mysterious circumstances surrounding the disappearance of Keshia Sylvester continue to haunt investigators. The 29-year-old mother was reportedly last seen on September 22, 2017, at her home in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. According to some reports, the St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office stated that Keshia was spotted in a white truck not far from where she lived a little over a week later on October 2. However, there has been no movement or contact since that time. The initial investigation uncovered that Keshia Sylvester didn't pick up her paycheck from work, nor did she attend her daughter's homecoming. Keshia reportedly looked forward to getting her daughter ready for the big homecoming celebration, including helping her pick out a hairstyle, so her loved ones insisted she wouldn't miss it. Joshua Sylvester, Keshia's brother, told authorities that he last saw her on September 18 when he picked his sister up from work. He said he dropped her off at her mobile home before leaving for a few days to tend to his job. When he returned, he attempted to reach Keshia, but was concerned when he couldn't get into contact with her. "I thought it was strange that she hadn't called and her phone was off," said Joshua. "I went to her trailer to see if she was home, but she wasn't." It's also reported that Keshia Sylvester was close with her family and would regularly visit her father, Clovis Sylvester, in Lafayette, Louisiana, about 20 to 30 minutes from Breaux Bridge, so for her to vanish without a trace is highly uncharacteristic. "Nothing like this has ever happened to us before," Joshua added. "We've been blessed. My mom and dad are taking it hard, and her daughter is too. Knowing she's not contacting anybody, and we can't reach her, it's been pretty bad lately." Yvonne Thibodeau, Keshia's aunt, spoke with KLFY News about the updates the family receives from investigators. "They'll call maybe every 6 months with nothing. That's the update, they have nothing," said Yvonne. "They're getting runaround stories like she's involved in sex trafficking, she was sold to somebody in California. I, as Keshia's aunt, knows Keshia. If she was in a situation like that, she would have found a way to contact somebody." In the 6 months leading up to her disappearance, Keshia Sylvester reportedly worked as a chef for Randall Rodriguez. A year after she went missing, Randall told reporters that investigators turned his home upside down looking for any link to Keshia. It was a nuisance, but he was unbothered because he wanted answers about her disappearance just like everyone else. He was cleared by sheriff's deputies, and Keshia's family doesn't believe that he had anything to do with her case. "It was an all-day ordeal. They turned my house upside down, my shop, almost every building, and they just went through everything and interrogated me," Rodriguez said. "The truth will eventually come out and bring this young woman home." At the time of her disappearance, Keshia Sylvester stood 5 feet 2 inches tall and weighed 45 pounds. She had black dark brown hair and brown eyes. Both of her ears are pierced. It's unclear what she was wearing when she was last seen. She would be 33 years old at the time of this publication. Anyone with information regarding this case is urged to contact the St. Martin Parish Sheriff's Office at 337-394-3071 or their local authorities. Her agency case number has not been listed. It is unknown if this is a cold case or an active investigation, but foul play is reportedly suspected.
Number 5.
It has been a little over 4 years since Sophie Reeder mysteriously vanished, and her family continues to seek answers. For many black teens who go missing, their cases aren't often taken seriously by police. You can peruse through the teens or children categories here on our Black Girls and read through cases where authorities have often classified Black youths as runaways or dismissed their loved ones' concerns because authorities assumed the children would eventually resurface. Unfortunately, many of those cases ended in tragedy, while others were eventually investigated, often long after the child has been gone and leads have grown cold. Sophie's loved ones made sure that after they couldn't get into contact with her, they immediately notified authorities. It was May 20, 2017, when Sophie left her Fort Lauderdale home on foot. A neighborhood surveillance camera captured the teen strolling down the street near Davie Boulevard, and according to reports, there didn't seem as if there was anything out of sorts in the brief clip. However, near Southwest 18th Avenue, just 5 to 10 minutes away from Davie Boulevard, police reported that Sophie's cell phone went silent. She was no longer able to be tracked, and what happened to the teen remains unknown. There was an apartment complex near where Sophie's mobile was no longer traceable, and authorities learned that she knew someone who lived there. Eventually, investigators received a search warrant for the location, but it's reported that nothing viable was found that helped the probe into the teen's disappearance. "This is definitely a case I think about on a regular basis," said Fort Lauderdale lead detective on the case, Jennifer St. Jean, back in March 2021. She told KPSMiami it wasn't uncommon for her to go for walks, so we believe she was meeting with a friend, but we are not sure. We know she was dabbling in adult material websites which could have gotten her entangled into human trafficking. That was one of our theories. I genuinely believe someone knows something, said St. Jean. This case also sheds light on human trafficking and how much young adults need leadership and how important that is. Police stated that their investigation revealed Sophie Reeder was online looking for sugar daddies who wanted to be with younger women. St. Jean said of the sex trafficking epidemic, "It's very prevalent in South Florida, and, unfortunately, it's so easy to get entangled into it and not even know necessarily right away that you're involved in it until you're so deep into it that you don't know how to get out." She added, "The grim reality is, she could be in a very dark situation right now, which is why we're hoping for any tips or any leads that could get us information so that we could locate her safely." Sophie Reeder was reportedly living with her father, Patrick Reeder, when she disappeared, and he shared with reporters his daughter's demeanor not long before she vanished. The night before, she was pacing back and forth. "I told her to go to bed," he said. "I saw a calendar on her wall with the 19th Z out. That was the day before she went missing." However, it seemed that Sophie planned on returning home from wherever she went because she left a candle burning in her room along with $300 in cash. Sophie's mother, Nicole Twist, told WSVN that she searched through her daughter's belongings at her home looking for clues. "When I went through her room, I saw things like stockings and garter belts, booze, drugs," she revealed. "I'm just surprised that she would even think about bringing that to my house. She picked the wrong crowd to hang out with, and I totally believe social media and being on the computer and talking to the wrong people led to her disappearance. As a mom, I have conflicting feelings that, even if maybe it would be better for her to be dead than have the life that she's having now," Nicole added. "What does she have to do to survive? I just could imagine what kind of hell. I think she's probably strung out on drugs and having to prostitute." At the time of her disappearance, Sophie Reeder stood 5 feet 1 inch tall and weighed 110 to 115 pounds. She had short, curly brown hair and brown eyes. Sophie was last seen wearing a black dress, a faux fur coat, Converse sneakers, and white headphones. Her middle name is Elizabeth. She was reportedly known to hang out in the area of Stranahan High School in Fort Lauderdale. Sophie Reeder would be 19 years old at the time of this publication. Anyone with information about this case is urged to contact the Fort Lauderdale Police Department at 954-764-4357 or their local authorities. Her agency case number is 17-080998.
Number 6.
Brittany Shank, 23, has been missing since November 30, 2018, from Burr Oak, Michigan. She borrowed her boyfriend's car and picked up a male friend and went to her grandmother's house to do some laundry. Brittany and her friend left, and later that evening around 8:30 p.m. the car went off the road near Fawn River Road east of Halfway Road, east of Sturgis, resulting in a minor car accident. It is unknown if Brittany's friend was with her. The police found the car with minor damage, but not Brittany. Brittany's mom, Jessica, did research on the case which led to the discovery that Brittany had gone door to door looking for help that night. The elderly homeowner said she showed up at his doorstep with no shoes and no jacket and blood on her arm. She seemed confused and tried to use a cell phone to call for help, but the calls didn't go through. The homeowner gave Brittany a coat and went into the house to use his landline to call for help, and when he returned, Brittany was gone. Brittany went to another house where a teen was at home, but he did not answer the door. Also, Jessica stated it looked as though the car had been moved and a struggle had occurred in the car, and she wondered if Brittany was running away from something. Also, Jessica told me that she has been getting tips. Honestly, I've been out here for 13 months. I've organized every single search, and I've put myself smack dab right in the heart of it all, said Jessica. I've been out there at night talking to every single person I can. The tips Jessica received are disturbing. According to Jessica, she received information that said that Brittany was kept in a dog cage and raped and tortured for 15 days, and then her body burned and the remains were put in the swamp behind a house. Then a video appeared. It shows a man at a Shipshewana, Scott, Indiana chicken ranch stealing some boots on December 15, and the video was posted on social media by the Lagrange County PD. The video was initially online asking for help to find the owner of this car as they stole from this farm. The camera catches the man walking back to his car and opens the door, and you can hear a woman inside the car. She sounds like she is gasping for air and moaning in pain. You can hear the man saying, which sounds to me like, "Hey, hey, what are you doing? I'm not going to hurt you." Jessica believes by the sound of the voice that it is Brittany. She also had a photo of a man standing in front of a white car that is believed to be the same man in the video. If you know who this man is below, please let Brittany's mom know. Since the writing of this post, the police have done DNA on the truck. Jess said, down to Lagrange County Jail, where that one man is on unrelated charges, and the police do have his car, had his car, and they also had his phone, but they will not give me any DNA results whatsoever. The latest information is the man has his car back and Brittany's DNA was not found in the car. Shank is described as around 5'1" and 110 pounds with brown hair and hazel eyes. She was with a man in his 20s who stands around 5'6" to 5'8" with short blonde hair and mutton chop sideburns. Jessica has set up a petition for the Michigan State Police Department that reads in part, "Family, friends and the community at large are requesting that immediate action and effort be taken regarding the disappearance of Brittany Nicole Shank, Wallace." Brittany has been missing since November 30, 2018. It is the opinion of all above stated parties that the efforts made to date to locate Brittany by both the Michigan State Police and the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Department have lacked in effort and therefore have been substandard and unacceptable. Anyone with information on Shank's whereabouts is asked to call the St. Joseph County Sheriff's Office at 269.467.9045 or dispatchers at 269.467.4195.
Number 7.
Authorities with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office said Wednesday that the woman seen in the home surveillance video is not missing 19-year-old Caitlin Denison. Sheriff's Lieutenant Scott Spencer told media that the woman seen in the video was the girlfriend of a man who died by suicide Wednesday. The family of a missing teenager from Nevada believe a woman seen frantically ringing a doorbell in the Houston area days ago is their missing loved one. Caitlin Denison has been missing from the Reno area for about 9 months, her grandmother Carol Pierce told Cron.com on Wednesday. Denison, 19, last told family members that she was meeting someone in Texas and hasn't been heard from since, Pierce said. As the teenager's family members searched for clues, home surveillance video surfaced from Montgomery, Texas, showing a woman ringing a doorbell at a home in the small Sunrise Ranch subdivision. Pierce said she and several other family members believe the woman in the video is Denison. "I got chills," Pierce said. "I really feel it's Caitlin. We're so heartsick." The woman in the video approached the home around about 3:20 a.m. August 24 and started ringing the doorbell, according to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. The resident was awakened by the bell, but the woman was gone by the time the resident opened the door, said Lieutenant Scott Spencer, whose department has circulated the video. The woman in the video has dark hair and has a physique similar to Denison's, Pierce said. Denison was known to have bleached hair, but she's a natural brunette, Pierce said, giving the family more reasons to believe the woman in the video is their missing family member. Pierce said the woman in the video has something wrapped around her wrists, which she believes is consistent with a theory that Denison was abducted and kept hostage. Anyone with information about the woman seen in the home surveillance video is urged to call the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office at 936-760-5800 and refer to case number 18A243347.